Hey there. I wanted to tell a story about perhaps the worst trip I've ever had on psychedelics, which was on acid and um, getting stuck in a loop on acid, taking redosing tabs, and still kind of fucks up my brain to this day. Like, I think I would be able to think a lot more clearly if this hadn't happened to me. I had a couple weird trips on salvia, and especially the last one, that were equivalent to the level of fear that I experienced, if not more, but they didn't permanently damage my brain or make me super anxious for a long time afterwards, like this acid trip did. And it was on my 18th birthday. So, anyways, let's get into it. Taking a little dab ski while I tell this story. But, so it was my 18th birthday, and my parents wanted to throw me a nice, party or whatever before I had to move out. So my dad got me blunt wraps, he got me some papers, and, was like, we're gonna just leave you guys alone in the living room, which is where me and Colin were at. The cousin I have that was with me on this night, that's not his real name. Me and this dude don't get along anymore, not because of this trip, just because he fucked me over when I was trying to move in with one of my other cousins, and we were gonna get a place together, and he lied to his dad, who was the person signing the lease for everyone, that I wasn't moving there. And so he totally fucked me over on being able to live in a place, but it actually worked out good. But anyways, yeah, I don't like this guy. But I did at the time. We were, he's my cousin, and he's about the same age as me, and so we had been together for our entire lives, and he had fucked me over. But anyways, he really liked to take acid, and I was really into psychedelics in general at the time. He wasn't really much of a shroom guy, or I think he took 2CB with me a couple of times, which is a story for another day, but he was mainly an acid guy. Like, this guy fucking loved his tabs. He didn't even really do anything other than smoke weed and take acid, but he was an acid maniac. He would take it day after day after day, and be taking 3 tabs or something. And I had these really good gels. If you have done acid in the last 5 years, you probably know what I'm talking about. These almost pyramid shaped gels, but it's more of a square in the middle, and they'll usually decorate it with some gold flakes or something like that, which would always make me nervous because I would think that it would be N-bomb, because N-bomb is a metallic thing that they put into tabs to fake acid. But some real homeboy advice on that is it will taste extremely bitter. I've had N-bomb tabs, and I've had the tabs with the flakes on them. The flakes, if anything, they might pick up a very slight flavor off of the oils from your hand or something, but otherwise they don't taste like anything at all. It's just a piece of gel on your tongue. With N-bomb, it's extremely bitter. It is very noticeably it tastes like if you lick the bottom of a coil on a Nord or a Novo or something. It just tastes horrendous, like burnt metal. But anyways, I knew this shit was super strong because I had taken half a tab before and tripped balls. And like I said, I had done a lot of psychedelics at the time, and I had a high tolerance to psychedelics, and especially acid, and especially shrooms, because I would do it at least once a week. So we figure that we can start the night off by taking a tab and a half. Or we actually took a tab first, and then we were like, we're having a good time, we should take another half tab. And so we took a tab and a half, and the first tab like kicked in, 20 minutes before the other half did or whatever. We were tripping nuts, and I had some pretty good weed that I had gotten from this vendor guy that he did like some of his shit legally and some of it not legally. He was also a Nazi. I don't know if you are familiar with Auburn, if you're watching this, Auburn, California, but there's a weird like Nazi sort of Hell's Angels like associated with each other like group up in Auburn, and they're genuine Nazis. Like they fucking despise all other races, and especially Jews and that sort of thing. But his weed was really good, and I had gotten blunt wraps, and I wasn't always able to get blunt wraps when I was younger. Like if you listen to a Goblin story or something, he'll always say like, oh, we were just rolling up a blunt. It must have been really easy to just like not get ID'd in where he was in Illinois, because I mean, I know stores that I can go to now. I'm not technically 21 yet, so I still have to do that. But I have a fucking mustache and like no hope in my eyes, so they're like, it's very different. When I was just a kid, like they were not trying to sell us blunt wraps, and so I was really excited about that, and I rolled a blunt, a big fatty, probably like 2.5 grams of like some indoor really good weed, and we were on a tab and a half, and that was absolutely a terrible idea. And I'm sure anybody who got the patience to go upon this video would know that smoking weed on acid intensifies the acid trip like tenfold. Like it makes it way, way, way more intense, and especially on like a really high dose. Anyways, we were smoking the blunt and, starting to really trip hard. I remember basically seeing my vision as if it was like in frames. Like if you've ever seen a strobe light, it was kind of similar to that. It, it was like I would see something and then it would move around and I could see where it was before and after and where it was, the really trippy shit. And then I was like kind of kaleidoscope visuals when we were staring at the TV, but we were playing Wii games and we were having a really good time. Like I don't know if the weed just hadn't fully set in yet or the weed just made it better for a short period of time, because we were playing Wii games and just tripping the fuck out, like very basic Wii games. If you guys are familiar with the Wii Play, we were playing the tank game until we couldn't do that, and the game we got stuck in a loop playing was this like fucking air hockey game. I forget what the actual name of it is on the Wii, but yeah, like it's really weird. But it's a very like basic game. It's like basically Pong from like the original series of games. And we were having a fucking blast. We were like, yo, like, this is fucking sick, man. And I think probably within 30 minutes to an hour after smoking the blunt, we decided to redose a whole tab, which I don't know how we were ready to do that, because I would never be able to do that nowadays. But when you're young, you kind of, until you experience a bad trip like what I'm about to tell you about, you kind of just have no awareness of like what you can control. And you're kind of more invincible as well. Like I did have a lot of trips where I would just pop a bunch of fucking tabs or do 10 grams of shrooms or like a 0.5 of MDMA or K-hole or something like that, and I would be fine. Like I would have a good time. I could never do that nowadays. Like it would be impossible for me to. I would go insane. Like I would need Valium or Xanax or something to just make it by. And by the way, I did have Xanax during this acid trip, which I will get to. Just a little foreshadowing for you. So the loop starts And I remember I would pause the game and like the Wii menu would come up and I would be like, yo, man, we're having a fucking great time right now. Like, do you want to redose? And he'd be like, yeah, let's do it. Like, sort of thing. Like, he was super down. And so we would redose and then we would forget that we redosed like fucking 10 seconds after. Like, I don't know if the tab stayed on our tongues or we swallowed it or what happened, but it was like literally a minute after we would completely forget. We thought we were just playing the game the whole time, and we were both thinking this. Acid has a weird way of being a hive mind. I'm gonna part 2 this because I'm running out of space to record. Yeah.